What's up YouTube, it's the Gaming Jackal, and in this video I'm going to be talking about Warriors Orochi 5 wishlist, what I'd like to see for Warriors Orochi 5, because when it comes to Koei Tecmo, whatever their next Warriors game is, personally I think it's going to be another Warriors Orochi if they do one, because we've had Dynasty Warriors 9, Samurai Warriors 5, and usually how they go is they'll do a new Samurai Warriors, a new Dynasty Warriors, then they'll do a Warriors Orochi. Now, first question though for Warriors Orochi 5 is how are they going to go about this, because I haven't played Samurai Warriors 5 yet, but I haven't played Dynasty Warriors 9 either, but both of those games didn't really receive the best reception. More so 9 got more hate and flack, and I wonder what direction they'll go with Warriors Orochi 5, because well, Samurai Warriors 5 and Dynasty Warriors 9 have two completely different gameplay designs and game designs. One's hack and slash, one's kind of that, but more open world. Now, if I had to take a guess, I mean, what I would prefer for Warriors Orochi 5, first of all, is I would say don't go with either SW5 or DW9. You would just go with the traditional hack and slash. Just maybe take the costumes from Samurai Warriors 5 and Dynasty Warriors 9 and then the new characters, but keep the old school gameplay, because that's what I would prefer, and that's what most Warriors fans like, is the classic gameplay system, because Dynasty Warriors 6 was a change back in the day, and it wasn't received the best, and they didn't go in that direction for Warriors Orochi 2. They ended up just kind of doing DW5 and SW2 again. So that's what I think they'll do in terms of, like, I guess, like the style of it in gameplay. I just can't see them combining SW5 and DW9. I would be shocked if they actually did that. Some other stuff I'd like to see for Warriors Orochi 5 if they actually make this game is I want to see costumes return again. You see, I found Warriors Orochi 4 disappointing, not only for other reasons, but one of my issues with that game is there's not really any costumes at all. I mean, there wasn't any, to be honest. Every character you used in Warriors Orochi 4, you couldn't unlock any costumes, and it just felt kind of lacking, because other Warriors games had costumes. So I would like it to where Warriors Orochi 5, all the characters have costumes, and you can unlock them, and, you know, there's a different skin you can use. I think there's plenty of things they could do. They could make new costumes for characters. They could take various costumes of Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, and Warriors Orochi characters from certain games and put them in the game. They could create a new outfit from everybody from scratch. They haven't done that in a very long time. It'd be cool to see them do that. So I'd like to see costumes make a comeback. I'd also like to see a UI that's more like the first three Warriors Orochi games. Now, they kind of fixed this with Warriors Orochi 4 Ultimate, but the UI and the original Warriors Orochi 4 they had originally was not good. But I would say UI interface wise, I want it to be more like Warriors Orochi 1, 2, and 3. It was a lot more stylish, a lot more cool, or they could come up with their own style, because I wasn't a big fan of the UI for Warriors Orochi 4. It just felt very put together and very basic, and it's just ugly looking compared to Warriors Orochi 3, 2, and 1, where they look cool and they had style to it. So I'd like a more appealing UI. Now, character-wise, I would like to see everybody that was brand new in Dynasty Warriors 9, as well as every other Dynasty Warriors character in Warriors Orochi 5. I would also like to see every single Samurai Warriors character that was added in 5, plus all the new ones in Spirit of Sound did, because they're not in Warriors Orochi 4 for some strange reason. And then I like to see some new characters if they can come up with any, and I like to see all the characters from all the Warriors Orochi, Dynasty Warriors, and Samurai Warriors games all in Warriors Orochi 5. It would have the biggest roster of all time. And it would also be cool to see some new faces in there, like some wishlist characters I'd like to see. I think since Onimusha is like in the same time period kind of as Samurai Warriors, feudal Japan, I think there's a lot of characters from Onimusha they could put in Warriors Orochi 5. You could take, I believe the guy in the first game, I can't remember his name, I think it's Samanosuke. He's actually related to Mitsuhide Eki, so you could add him in Warriors Orochi 5, the female character in there. You could add in Jubei from Onimusha 2, you could add in Eke, you can even add in Magoichi's outfit, or maybe even Magoichi, the Onimusha 2 version. Maybe you could have like this timeline thing a little bit in Warriors Orochi 5, where like Magoichi meets his Onimusha 2 version, and he's just like, what the hell? And then the characters from Onimusha 3 and 4, I feel like they should just put all of them in Warriors Orochi 5, because they're in the same And I know that's Capcom, so you have to do a partnership with Capcom, but I would like to see them in there. I think it would make sense. Some more characters from Soul Calibur, because I know they added some of them for Warriors 3 Ultimate. And then some other characters I would like to see. I mean, it'd be cool to see some. I know this would be kind of out there, but it's a wish list. It'd be cool to see some Dead Rising characters. I'd love to see Frank West in there, Chuck Green, TK, you know, characters like that. You know, being able to hack and slash with Frank West with the baseball bat, Chuck Green with the paddle saw, TK with his giant mic. I mean, maybe one of the ways you can incorporate them in the story is Frank and Chuck are going after a scientist, and he ends up fucking up the timeline of Frank and Chuck, and maybe some other Dead Rising characters, they end up in Warriors Orochi 5, or they end up in the timeline where they all meet each other or something. Some other things I would love to see for Warriors Orochi 5. I think this is one of the main things I would love to see for Warriors Orochi 5, and it needs to happen. Hunden needs to be the villain, right? So this time around, the villain, the bad guy, needs to be Hunden. Because Hunden was introduced in Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate, and he was really cool. Gameplay-wise, design-wise. He was also in 4, but he wasn't really in the story. He was just kind of this mini-boss you fought on certain stages to get an item. But I think Hunden needs to be the villain for Warriors Orochi 5. He's all about chaos. He's very dangerous. His weapons do a shit ton of damage. He's got a cool design. He's fun gameplay-wise. He looks cool. He has like this dog-looking face. He's like a demon. He's got like these 4 axes. He looks awesome. And I think Hunden needs to be the villain of Warriors Orochi 5. And I think what they could do with Warriors Orochi 5 is Hunden could be the villain where he is so dangerous and he is so much of a threat that even Orochi and Daji are forced to team up with the main characters. Because this is something else I think they could do with Warriors Orochi to change it up, to spice it up. For Warriors Orochi 5, you know, instead of having Orochi be the typical villain always going against the characters, he is forced, like the demon army, or like some of them in Orochi, is forced to cooperate with the Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors characters. They're literally forced to work with him because Hunden is so powerful and so strong. He can outmatch, like maybe one of the beginning battles could be like the strongest warriors working together. Like you have Lubu and Tadagatsu and Keiji and all the strongest warriors at the beginning stage. Maybe they think this will be a cakewalk and they all get beaten by Hunden or something like that, just to show how powerful he is. Maybe you could have Orochi dueling with him, and then, you know, like I said, Orochi and Daji teaming up with the main characters because Hunden is too powerful. That would be something different. To have to see the Mystics be forced to get along. I mean, we kind of see Daji work with him in Warriors Orochi 3, but that was for a different reason. So, yeah, Hunden being the villain I think would be cool. You would have to make some new characters for Hunden's team, most likely. Maybe his own peons. In terms of the god characters, I mean, it'd be cool to have him in Warriors Orochi 5. If they want to put him in there, just put him in there. I don't really know what they could do story-wise with him. Maybe they could just be in there in the story with Orochi and all them, but I think Hunden needs to be the main villain, that's for sure. Maybe you could do something crazy near the end where Hunden combines himself with Orochi, and you get Hunochi or something. Where it's like it's Orochi X meets Hunden. Like maybe Hunden finds some version of Orochi that he fuses himself with, Dragon Ball style. And it's like this new super powered Hunden they got to take down. You know, they could go really crazy with something like that. And they could tell us what Hunden's about, tell us his story. And, you know, he's all about chaos. You know, Orochi was about chaos, but he was wanting to test the Dynasty Warriors, Silver Warriors. Hunden just don't give a shit. He's all about chaos. And, you know, make him the villain. And tell the story with him. Tell us what he's about. Make some new soldiers for him. Make some new officers for him. And make it to where all the demon army you usually fight are all on your side, because Hunden's too powerful that he forces, you know, I've already said it earlier with the Orochi thing. Maybe some other stuff they could do with Warriors Orochi 5 is they definitely should have, like, I would say, so okay, if they were to go the grand spectacle route like this and have all the characters from all 3 franchises, you know, and this is a stretch, but if they even had the Onimusha and Dead Rising characters, Onimusha is possible, Dead Rising is just a crazy choice, but I just wanted to pick it. But I think one of the things they could do with the Warriors Orochi 5 that, you know, because the more and more characters there are in Warriors games, it becomes harder and harder for the characters to have you know, screen time. So what I think they could do is they could take Dream Mode for Warriors Orochi 2, put it in Warriors Orochi 5, where you have various amounts of all these stages in Warriors Orochi 5, and these Dream Mode levels, where you have certain characters on each level you play as that get screen time. So that would make it to where everybody gets a fair share, or they at least get one stage dedicated to them. Let's see, what else would be cool to see with Warriors Orochi 5? Maybe like a mini story mode or something that revolves around just Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors. Because I had said this to somebody else, but it would be interesting. Like, maybe it'd be pointless to do a whole game on this, but I actually think it would be interesting if they took Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors, but instead of them teaming up and doing the whole Orochi thing, they actually fight against each other. So you could have like Mitsunari teaming up with Cao Pi going up against Ieyasu and Liu Bei. So you could have just Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors, but no Orochi stuff. You could have it be like some kind of mini storyline or some kind of mode. I think that'd be cool to see. I also think that, let's see, I think level-wise, if I had to choose, like in terms of how they should do the leveling system, I think they should just have everybody get to level 100 and get all max stats. They could have the prestige thing if they wanted, but honestly I don't think that's necessary because there's so many characters to use and play as. But if they wanted to do the prestige thing, that's cool. So yes, levels wise, I mean, they'd probably use stuff from Samurai Warriors 5, Dynasty Warriors 9, some of the stuff from Spirit of Sanada. They can make some new stages. What else could they do with Warriors Orochi 5? They could bring back the R1 attacks, but also keep the magic if they wanted. They also could make it to where the magic attacks become more like individual, where they're more like, you know, they're more in depth, where it's not just like too many clones of it, and then maybe more characters have god forms. I think another thing that'd be cool to see, speaking of gods, is maybe they could mess with the, maybe they could have, well, they've already technically did the demon realm with Orochi, so never mind on that. But I'm trying to think of some more ideas and more things they could do with the Warriors Orochi 5. Some other things they could do is, I'd like to see all the songs and all the music from all the games in there. That way you have all the songs to select from. I'd like to see all the costumes, all the outfits. I think it would be cool. I think another thing that would be really cool, that would spice up Warriors Orochi, give it some new flavor compared to the other ones. Well, not to say the other ones didn't have flavor. Warriors Orochi 4 is disappointing, but like to spice it up, what I mean so to say is, you know how Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors and Warriors Orochi characters, a lot of them have had different weapons through the series. Here's what I think they should do that I think would be really cool. I think this would be better than the 2-weapon system. So for example, let's say you play as Ganding in Warriors Orochi 5. Now, let's say his base weapon, which should be the Pirate Sword, is a Pirate Sword. Well, you can actually unlock his other weapons through the series. So you can unlock his daggers from Dynasty Warrior 6, and you can unlock his sickle from Dynasty Warrior 7. Basically what I'm getting at with this is you can use more than just one type of weapon with all the characters. So if he plays Ganding, if you're tired of using the Pirate Sword, you can switch to his daggers from 6, and it's his moveset from 6, the Rimbu system from 6, or if they want to work in their own new system with that. Or with a Samurai Warriors character, if you want to go old school with Oichi and use her ball in a cup instead of the hoops, then you can do that. And I think that would be a way to freshen up the gameplay and make it to where, oh cool, I can use this weapon. Like, I like Zhao Yuan's rod, but it would be cool if you could use his sword from DW3. And it would also make it to where certain characters where I hate their new weapons, like Dong Zhuo and Ganding, it makes it to where I can just switch to their classic weapon and be good to go. That's an idea that I think would be cool to see in general in any of the Warriors games, especially Dynasty Warriors. I think it would be a lot better than the 2-weapon system. It'd give you more variety and more to do. Another thing that would be different is the different weapons. You can have different Musu attacks, you could have different combos, and it would just add more longevity to the game, and there'd be more to do. Another thing that I would like to see for Warriors Orochi 5 is them trying to take Warriors Orochi and finally do an Empires, because Warriors Orochi's never had an Empires game. And if they were to do an Empires game for Warriors Orochi, it'd be the biggest Empires game ever, because they have all the characters, all the stages. It would be insanity. And speaking of the Onimusha thing, with the Onimusha series, they could have weapons from Onimusha, they could have certain enemies from Onimusha. Maybe they're the ones working with Hunden. They could have Nobunaga's Onimusha version. Meet Nobunaga from... Oh yeah, here's what they could do. Maybe Nobunaga from Onimusha is working with Hunden, and Nobunaga from Samurai Warriors meets this one. Like I said, you can incorporate this kind of thing where like certain times and space get wrapped up together like they've done before anyways. And you could have like, you know, these Samurai Warriors characters meeting their Onimusha counterparts. That would be really cool. And then I haven't fully beaten or played the Neo games, but I know they're revolved around that stuff. So whatever versions of characters from there, whatever they could take from there, maybe they could put in Warriors Orochi 5. And then I think that, what point was I getting to? And what else they could do with Warriors Orochi 5? Empires. They should make an Empires mode. I think that would be really cool to see. I would like to see an Empires mode, what they would do with the Warriors Orochi Empires. That would be very interesting. Another thing they could do with Warriors Orochi 5 that's never been done with any of the Warriors Orochi games is have the edit mode. Have it to where we can create our own character. That would be pretty cool. See what they could do with that. Another thing they could do with Warriors Orochi 5 is just include all the modes from all the games. Have Versus, Survival, Musu Battlefields, stuff like that. And then another thing they could do with the Warriors Orochi 5 is just had the idea. Maybe they can incorporate some ideas from other Warriors games that were actually good ideas. Like, in my opinion, I think some of the stuff from Dynasty Warriors 6 were good ideas, and I think they should include them in Warriors Orochi 5. Like, the horse system. I mean, the horse system itself, it's fine, but I think Dynasty Warriors 6, in my opinion, had the best horse system. Because horses could be leveled up, and they had abilities. It was awesome, and I think they should incorporate that with Warriors Orochi 5. You know, you have, like, this horse system with leveling up and stuff. And then I think, like, the concept of like what was it, you could like, well, maybe that'd be unnecessary having to break down gates because you'd be wanting to go through the stages quick, but maybe certain gates have to be broken down. Warriors Orochi 5 like did with 6. And then like another thing they could do with Warriors Orochi 5 is they could kind of do what Spirit of Sanada that I've noticed has been doing. I haven't beaten it yet, but I got pretty far in it, where they could like, I mean, Warriors Orochi 3 did this. Warriors Orochi 4 didn't really do this as much, from what I remember, but like Warriors Orochi 3 had the camp thing, so maybe you could go even more in depth with that in Warriors Orochi 5, where you have all these characters interacting with each other and talking to each other. And then of course, another thing that Warriors Orochi 5 I think should have, and I would love to see in the game, is an English dub. We need English dub back. I don't want to read subtitles and playing a hack and slash game. I want an English dub. It would be great to see. I don't care if you got to use the same voice actor for 10 characters, 20 characters. Give us an English dub. It would be great to see. To have a new Warriors Orochi game on the PS5 and Xbox Series X and the PC and all that, and have an English dub where we don't have to read subtitles. It would be phenomenal. It would really give it an edge over 3, especially 4, where you can actually hear the voice actors. You know, you can have the hyper attacks from Samurai Warriors. I also think they should give the Dynasty Warriors characters something that's as good as the hyper attacks, because it's kind of weird how you can do that with Samurai Warriors characters, but Dynasty Warriors characters in Warriors Orochi 4, they don't have hyper attacks, and it kind of feels uneven. So I think they should come up with something, maybe just give Dynasty Warriors characters hyper attacks, or give them something that's on the same level as that. And I would say story-wise, overall, with Warriors Orochi 5, you could have it basically be, like I know in Warriors Orochi 4, I think they made it to where all the characters forgot their memory, even at the end of the game, which I wasn't a fan of that. I think they should just retcon that, or do some shit where it's like all the characters remember everything that happened. And, you know, something gets messed up in the timeline through Hunden's actions, and he unleashes chaos everywhere, and he is tired of everything being peachy and everything being fine, and you know, he wants chaos again, and Orochi is going off against him, and the characters end up wrapped up in the universe again, and they end up having to deal with this Hunden and then run from him because he's too powerful. Maybe they could beat up with the gods, and the story could just be about them having to stop Hunden and being forced to work with Orochi for the first time, working with the gods. And then they also incorporate the Onimusha stuff in the storyline, them getting involved in the timeline, all them being there. them characters. You could have some cool moments. Mitsuhide would be able to meet his cousin or whoever that was. He is related to him. And then you could have all the enemies from Onimusha where you fight them, the weapons and all that stuff. And, you know, this, like I said, that's the storyline, I think. Just have it be Hunden as the villain, and Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, Onimusha characters all have to team up and like work with each other to stop Hunden. I mean, the Dead Rising thing would be cool, but that was just more of a reach type of thing. You know, I wouldn't really expect to ever see that kind of crossover, but it would be cool. Because I think some of the Dead Rising characters would be fine, because in a way, Warriors games and Dead Rising are similar in a lot of ways. You beat up 1,000 enemies on screen and just go crazy, basically. Power fantasy, pretty much. So that's what I think they could do with the storyline. And yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any other ideas or concepts I could think of for a Warriors Orochi 5. What else could they do with the Warriors Orochi 5? I don't really know. That's all I got so far for like wish list and things I would like to see for Warriors Orochi 5. Again, it's just a wish list. Things I'd like to see for Warriors Orochi 5. I think they should just, you know, go with the hack and slash gameplay. Hunden as the villain. All the characters from all the series. In terms of crossovers, maybe more Soul Calibur characters. I think the Onimusha series being incorporated, I think would make a lot of sense and really work. Hunden as the villain. Orochi being forced to work with the main characters, all the modes, English dub, costumes, and the ability to have the classic and new weapons. And maybe another thing they could do that might be kind of interesting, I think, with the whole, you know, because Warriors Orochi's always had timeline, messing with timeline. Maybe another thing they could do is they could have, like, either in parts of the story or dream mode or something like that, where the timeline gets so messed up that certain Dynasty Warriors characters and Samurai Warriors characters, they meet their other versions from the other games. Like, you could have Dynasty Warriors 5 Lu Bu crossing paths with Dynasty Warriors 3 Lu Bu. You could have Dynasty Warriors 3 and 4 Liu Bei crossing paths with Liu Bei from Dynasty Warriors 8. You know, that would be very interesting. Or like Samurai Warriors 4 Tadagatsu meeting Samurai Warriors 1 Tadagatsu, or something that I think would be really interesting, because these characters have two different versions, I think. Hideyoshi from Samurai Warriors 1 crosses paths with Hideyoshi from Samurai Warriors 2 and the newer ones. He's a lot more of a nice guy in the newer ones. In the first one, he was a lot more evil. He even looked kind of creepy in the first one with his mustache. They could also, another thing they could do with the whole Hunden thing, I think, is maybe they could do some, another thing they could do, I think, is not only could you have like the villains from Onimusha, which is like different versions of like Nobunaga and stuff, but I think another thing they could do on top of this whole different versions of characters is they could, what they could do is, since you have the Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, and Warriors Orochi characters working together, what they could do to make Hunden an even bigger threat is that you could have all the other versions of like the Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors characters on Hunden's team. So you would kind of have this huge all-out war, like this crazy ultimate multiple universes colliding, where you could have Dynasty Warriors 3 and 4 Ganning, and Samurai Warriors 1 and 2 Yukimura, and like you could have Kenshin, Samurai Warriors 1 and 2, all those characters, their other Warriors game versions on Hunden's team, and then the main ones we're playing as from the new games, or the good guys, are having to go against them. So they're having to go up against their multiple versions from the multiple Dynasty Warriors games, with Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors. So I could add to Hunden and his team, where he has something even deadlier. Because like I said, you know, you could go crazy with this, with the timeline and exploiting all that stuff. So that's something else I think would be cool. Not only having like Lu Bu or Ganning or all these characters meet their other versions, but have all of them be on Hunden's team. Or maybe some of them are on Hunden's team, maybe some of them aren't. But I think that would be really cool to see. You could have like certain state, maybe another thing that'd be really cool, Warriors Orochi 5, classic versions of stages. You could have you know, some of the best stages from Dynasty Warriors, some of the best stages from Samurai Warriors and Warriors Orochi, like the old school stages and old school versions of certain stages, you actually end up on because of how crazy the timeline is. So there's a part in the story where you end up at like Chibi, where like the Dynasty Warriors 3, Cao is fighting Liu Bei, and you're playing as all these characters, Warriors Orochi, and you're wrapped up in the middle of their war. And that's something that can bring back. Well, they already did this with Warriors Orochi, but you know how they had like 3 factions going against each other? Well, that's something else they could do. Maybe certain times in the timeline, you get thrown into certain historical battles from Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors, and you have like, you could have like Cao and Chibi and Dynasty Warriors 3 going up against the current Cao, current Liu Bei, and then you got Liu Bei, and they would be confused, like, this is a different timeline version of myself, and they're all just fighting each other. You know, that's something else you could do. You could have like a Samurai Warrior stage where, like, you know, the big stage, like where Ieyasu is going up against Mitsunari. Well, you could have the SW2 version, or you could have, you know, iconic stages like Mitsuhara Shingen against Ieyasu. There's a lot of potential there, I think, when it comes to like the taking the stages and like putting you in the middle of it, basically. So, but yeah, you could have all that stuff going on. And then if they wanted to incorporate Dead Rising, you know, that's just a huge reach, but if they wanted to, that'd be awesome. They could incorporate Willamette Mall, parts of it. Maybe you fight zombies. They can incorporate, like, you know, Carlito and TK, you know, Frank and Chuck meeting all these characters, all the combo weapons and stuff. Just a ton of crazy stuff going on. And that stuff would be really cool. And I think, you know, I mean, for the most part, I think it would be, you know, another Warriors Orochi game, just another Warriors game. But I think a lot of these ideas and concepts that I came up with and a lot of the stuff I'd like to see, I think this would be a way to freshen up the Warriors Orochi series, not only with the weapon system I was talking about, not only with taking different versions of different characters from different games, having Hunden as the villain so we could take a break from Orochi always being the villain. I think a lot of this stuff in general would be interesting to see, and I think even the Dead Rising thing would really just take the series in a crazy turn, like, damn, we got something even crazier. Or they could just, you know, if maybe not Dead Rising, they could take Final Fantasy and put Final Fantasy characters in there, because I know Final Fantasy and Lord of the Rings, I was talking to someone, those were like some series that might work with the Warriors gameplay. Lord of the Rings characters, they could maybe use them. I'm just trying to think of some crossovers that would work. Maybe they could, I don't know. If they wanted to do something crazy, or another crazy thing they could do, or maybe a fun what if, is like a modern take on Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors. That's something else they could do. That'd be a huge like risk, I think, but that's just another idea I'll throw out there. They could go for more of like a modern take where it's set in like modern times, where characters, designs, and weapons and everything going on is based on how it would be if they existed nowadays. I don't know. Or they end up in the modern times or something. I don't know. Just some other stuff I was throwing out there. But yeah, this is just a video I wanted to make about Warriors Orochi 5. What I'd like to see in it, a wish list. If it does come out, hopefully it's a good game. Hopefully it's a step up from Warriors Orochi 4. And I would like it to be the best one yet, or at least a really good one. And it could make the Warriors games have a good comeback. And I think at the very least, having Hunden at the villain, an English dub, all the characters, at the most having a Onimusha crossover, some kind of crossover, and incorporating some of these ideas, I think you could have a really good game on your hands. So that's my wish list and ideas for Warriors Orochi 5, what I would like to see. Let me know what you would like to see in a Warriors Orochi 5, or what ideas you have. This was just all off the top of the dome, things I was just trying to think of and put together. You know, maybe some extra things they could do with the game before I end this video. Maybe they could extend stuff with the Mystics. They could have more story with them. Maybe you could have like mini campaigns where it's only about the Mystics. Like, instead of doing Mystic Warriors or COD Warrior games, you could have like mini stories or something where it's just only about the gods, only about the Mystics, only about the demons maybe. Those are just some other ideas, I guess. But yeah, that's it for this Warriors Orochi 5 video wish list. That's it. Just thought it'd be fun to make this video. Peace out. So some other ideas that I wanted to include in this Warriors Orochi 5 video that I forgot to mention. So if they're going to incorporate multiple Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors versions of all their versions from different games, they need to use their voice actors from those games so they can stand out from each other. And it would also be a way for those voice actors to come back. As well as, what else was I going to mention that they could do for Warriors Orochi 5? I think that was the main thing I forgot. Voice actors for the individual versions. That way, we can get basically like different voice actors for each other. That'd be really cool. Like Dynasty Warriors 4 Lu Bu voice actor meeting Dynasty Warriors 5 Lu Bu voice actor. I think that was like one of the last ideas or something I could think of. Something like that. Yeah. That's it for the video. Warriors Orochi 5 wishlist discussion. What I would like to see for the game. Realistically, I think a lot of this stuff or most of this stuff is going to be in it. They make it. I don't really know, because Koei Tecmo's track record hasn't been the best lately. But it's still always fun to just wish for these things and just hope you could see it. But that's it. Peace. Okay, so there's one more thing I wanted to talk about, Warriors Orochi 5. This is me filming the video the next day, which is why the setting is different and the shirt and hat are different. Anyways, one more thing I wanted to say about Warriors Orochi 5 I'd like to see. In terms of art style, in terms of graphic style, what they could do with the game, I think if I had it my way, I would want it to be colorful, but I'd want it to be more like Dynasty Warriors 4 and Samurai Warriors 1's art style, where it has more of like this kind of gritty, kind of dark, more of a realistic tone. That's what I would like to see, because I thought Dynasty Warriors 4 and Samurai Warriors 1 looked really cool, having like this gritty, you know, some color, but has like this kind of mature look to it. To me, that's the best art style in the whole series. I just love how it looks. Really sets the mood. I would also be fine if they wanted to go with Dynasty Warriors 5 and Samurai Warriors 2 type thing, where maybe it's not as gritty, but it still has like that colorful style. I mean, I could put up with Warriors Orochi 4 and SW4's like more flashy and colorful anime thing, but it's not one of my favorite art styles in the series, to be honest. Maybe the English dub not being in there makes it feel more like that, but I personally prefer the art style and the graphic style of the old Warriors games. So I would want it to be like DW4 and SW1 if I had it my way. Or they could just make it like DW9, or like how some of these new games are that are photorealistic. You could have, for the first time ever, like a very graphically beautiful, a photorealistic looking game where all the characters look like real people and it's just beautiful graphics. That would really be something amazing, because it would be something more similar to 9, but also something different for Warriors Orochi. So that's what I would say about the graphic art style side of things. But that's the last thing that I had to add to this Warriors Orochi 5 discussion wish list. What I would like to see for Warriors Orochi 5 video. Peace out.